So we're going to move on, guys. Allyship, role models, key figures and leadership. And the first thing I want to know is biggest impact and role models you had in your career, or maybe allyships.
I'd say like growing up, like I said, I was at Millwall from under 12s till I was sort of 17, 18. And there was a player there in the first team called Dion Lennon. And she was the captain at the time. She was just a good person, and I think she was a centre-back, so obviously my position. And for me, someone coming through the ranks, you know, I was 15, 16, I was starting to like train with the first team and stuff. And I think she was just someone I really looked up to because she made time for everyone. She was just there for everyone, and she was a captain and stuff. So she just looked after everyone, like made time for me, made everyone feel welcome. And I just think in football, like that's such a little thing can make such a big difference. For me, like coming in, I was like petrified of everyone. Obviously playing with like 30-year-olds, and I'm like a 15, like a scrawny little kid. Like,
yeah.
But it just gave me confidence to be able to try and train and be a bit more confident. I just think, you know, it's so little, but for me that was a role model when I was younger. I was like, she's just a good person and looks out for her team. And I think, again, that coming back to what we were saying earlier, that's what being a team is, like looking out for everyone. And
but let's talk allyships in sport. Can you talk about somebody that's been a good ally, you know, certainly for our game?
Not necessarily football, but I just think, I remember when Andy Murray spoke about, he got interviewed and they basically said he was the only person to do X, Y, Z, and he was very quick to say, no, hang on, Serena Williams has done it. And I think it's not just for tennis, like we can relate to that as well. That's such a little thing for him. He's speaking facts, obviously, but I think it's such a little thing for him to do, but then it makes you kind of sit up and go, oh yeah, hang on, like the next journalist might not ask that question.
You know, like sometimes you always would hear that there's men in the women's game coaching because they couldn't get it within the men, they couldn't coach within the men's game, they weren't good enough for the men. But actually I've come across so many good male coaches that actually are allies and are advocates for our game and do want to promote it. And I've started from, you know, the grassroots and brought them all the way through and are really passionate. How do you see leaders? What do you see, if I was to put leadership in front of you, how would you define what leadership is?
I think for me, like, if I look at captains I've had, it's just like consistently doing the right things. And it's not, like I kind of said with Dion earlier, like my role model, like you don't necessarily have to be the best player, you don't have to be the most vocal player, but like doing the right things and being a good person, I think is so powerful. Like making sure you're on time for everything, making sure you're doing all your gym, making sure you're eating right, sleeping right, like little things like that is like inspiring for younger people to see. And I just think little things like that can make you a leader. Like you don't necessarily have to be this huge character or anything like that. I think being a leader is taking care of you so that you can help the team, like, and it can be as simple as that. And I think, like, say our captain Nifar, he's really good at that. Like,
so breaking stereotypes, have any of you guys experienced that and had to use your platform in order to challenge stereotypes at any time?
Talking about what's gone on recently with the likes of Bunny Shaw and Millie Bright come out with a statement about the fans after the game, and Bunny's obviously, you know, had racial abuse and things like that, and obviously we can't relate, but we can be an ally with that, you know, and we can kind of share her story and make sure it doesn't happen. Fortunate enough to, the older I've got, I haven't really experienced it. But again, when I was younger, you know, oh, they've got a girl on the team, like we'll kind of like target her and pick on her. And I think sometimes that's still the case. You know, I've got a little niece growing up and I want her to get into football, but I also wouldn't force her to because I know them comments and stuff. But then actually I do want her to do it because you are resilient, you are good enough, and you know, just because you're the girl on the team does not make that team any weaker. But if a teammate or somebody in the women's game, you know, like Bunny, Millie, I'd like to think that we have a platform to, you know, stand by them and share the word and back them, and you know, they have our full backing, and it keeps happening. So until we stand up to it and until we do something about it and stick together, you know, I don't think it'll change.